when they said that the show starts at 7 or 8 o'clock, you bet your bottom dollar will start much later. So from then on, we train people like this is FlagCom. You know that when FlagCom says 8 o'clock, they will start at 8 o'clock.
The glitz and glam is the fame, but it's the work backstage that makes the game. I'm Crystel and Bandal, your host. Come with me behind the lens and watch their stories unfold. As you can see from the garments behind me, it's probably the biggest hint of our next guest here today. He's very well known in the Filipino-Australian community for producing many successful events, not just for our local artists, but also for international artists. Please welcome to the show, Behind the Lens, Charles Chan. Hello, Kuya Charles. How are you?
I'm very good, my dear. You're looking lovely today.
Thank you. You too. I like your suit today.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so you're very well known in your community work in the Filipino-Australian community. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you do and the radio stations that you're involved in?
Well, for start, I don't know if I'm really well known. Maybe some are well known because they think I'm Mataray. Because that's the impression that I have with some of the Filipino that have seen me before. But if they get to know me, alam naman nila, they know that I'm not Mataray. But yeah, anyway, just to start the question of how I got to know, I get this, maybe, being famous in the Filipino community, not. It started off 10 years ago, pretty much. It's to do with Albert when we started off FlagCom. The objective is to sort of like continue on from the legacy of another person that established gay and lesbian organization, and then he stopped. And so what Albert, or there were two Alberts. So Albert Prius and Albert Di Marucot, and one other person, Jude Gonzalez. There were four of us who started FlagCom. And the objective is to sort of like give a voice for the third gender, so to speak. And by doing that one, we aim to sort of like be, it wasn't like, the way that you know now about the entertainment stuff. It's just sort of like, building relationship with the community in terms of like if they've got events. So how can we help? And I can remember the very first thing that we did for the group of PCC and APCO was to sort of like help them during their Philippine Independence Ball. We taught two groups dancing. One is Rigodon and the other one is a modern one. So from then on, that first year, it was very much like a volunteer work. So no pay. It's more of like giving back to the community somehow. And bit by bit, we got known that, Albert and Charles are doing this and that sort of thing, because we branch out, not only sort of like doing community events. We went on to support producers when they're actually asking the local talents from the Philippines to have a concert here in Australia. They need somebody to sort of like help them in the production. And that's where Albert and I came in, because the elder Albert has to go back home. So the only work that we all did together at first dropout was Jude Gonzalez. He said that he's got a different vision. So that's fine. So he wants to do something else. The next dropout is Albert, because he has to go back to the Philippines. He wants to do some master's degree, and we can't help it. So that's the reason why it was only left between me and Albert to continue on the FlagCom that we started in January 2010. So, like I said, Albert Di Marucot and the other Albert and myself, the only thing that we did together was her son Jose Rizal. We don't know you then at that time. That was in 2011, I think, or 10. I can't even remember now. Those are the only collaboration between the three. The rest is history. It's just me and Albert. And then with the FlagCom being known as well, as we progress, we've done lots of events for the Filipino community, charity-wise, as a the volunteers in the community, and then yun na nga, the events with the producers. That's how we actually got to be known more for the expertise that we bring in to give a good show. So now I'm currently the junior vice president of the Alliance of the Philippine Community Organization, or APCO, and I have been an acting president last year because the president was unable to perform her duty because of personal reason. I've been in the radio now around the Campbelltown area for about 8 years, going 9. It started off with Jimmy Pimentel. He is our convener for the Press Sydney, Filipino Press in Sydney. And he said, like, we're trying to sort of like put these pockets of radio stations for each of the sectors of Sydney, of each demographics in Sydney. So there's people in the north, south, west. I don't think we have got the south, we got southwest, got the west. And they said, he approached me and said, why don't you start your Filipino program over here? But during the time that I was applying for the Filipino program, there is already established Filipino program in Campbelltown. It was run by a couple, Eve and the late John Solomon. So when I applied to have my own radio program, I did say to them that it will be, done in English, but the components that I'll be producing should have Filipino touch, in the sense that there'll be Filipino news, Filipino guests, and music, most important, Filipino music. That doesn't mean that I will not be playing
English.
The English music. It's a mix. So I will wrap it up. Say, for example, I'll have one night I will have the best of the 80s band. But in that best of the 80s band, we do also have the Filipinos' best music during the 80s. So I'll drop that in.
So it's kind of like a mixture.
It is.
It really is for like the Filipino-Australian community.
Correct. So that was the so that not to clash with Eve and John's program, the radio program that they have.
Was it purely Tagalog?
Not really, because Eve is kind of like, in a sense, bulul. She speaks Tagalog, but I don't know what's bulul in the English. But she can't pronounce well, so she'd rather do the programming more on the English side because the husband is white. So he will be mentioning the names, though it's written in Tagalog. He will try his best to pronounce it.
Oh, okay.
So therefore, there were two existing programs that is geared towards the Filipino Aussie listeners. So by doing that one, I got introduced actually by the program manager at that time, or the president at that time of the Campbelltown radio station. I said, why don't you sort of like, hang with the other two and see how you go, because you're doing Tagalog, Filipino program, so they're doing the Filipino program. Have a feel of like how it is, because you need to do the paneling and all that sort of thing. So, which I did. So I sat down there as a guest, but that guest, it turned out to be like, a few weeks after, we were all doing it together. I did not realize that, that short introduction will lead into me being a permanent co-host of the radio program. They don't have a name for the show. It's just called the Filipino Ethnic Program in Campbelltown. So they don't have the name for the show yet. So I became a co-host. So they're on a Monday night. I'm on a Tuesday night. Mine is also a 2-hour program. Theirs is 1 hour. So that's 3 hours. Then later down the track, I met this lovely, lovely woman by the name of Miss Violi Calvert. She's my very good friend. And Michelle Baltazar, also my very good friend. And they were approached. Violi was already working at another radio station in Ashfield or Burwood. And she asked me if I'd like to sort of like, help them out because Michelle was going away and she needs somebody to co-host a panel, to do paneling. So I did. And that one then, again, it turned out to be, it was a partnership between me, Michelle, and Violi. Violi was the mainstay.
Yeah.
So Michelle and myself got involved. So it was Violi first with Jimmy Pimentel, and then Jimmy left the show and she asked those two ladies, and then Violi asked me as well. So I'm running 3 programs at the one point. So I've got my own radio program, which is called Radio Rizal, the Filipino ethnic program with Eve and John and the late John Sullivan. Then with Michelle and Violi with Radio Sandigan. And Radio Sandigan is a Friday. It's a pre-recorded one. It's not a live show.
Okay.
Those 2 are live. The other one is a pre-recorded. So lucky at that time, I was out of work. So I can do all this sort of like things. So I can prepare the show very well, all in timing and stuff. So, but then again, because of the time, I have to give up my Radio Rizal and just concentrate with Eve and John. After 3 years with Radio Sandigan, 3 years, a long time. After 3 years with Radio Sandigan, the 3 of us decided it's time to pass the baton and give it to some other people. So we left Radio Sandigan. So then just stayed on with the ethnic program. And then after a year and a half of being with Eve and John, they named it Radio Bayanihan. So and up until now, I continued on with that one because Eve left already after John passed away. She couldn't cope. As you've been left. So she said, can you just take over? So I took over. So now I'm the only one that's at the Radio Bayanihan. So
And that's the only one you're doing now, or are you still doing others?
no, that's the only one. I actually sort of like we're looking for a co-host as well too, because sometimes, with work commitment and stuff, with the work commitment personal and the work commitment for the community, sometimes gets too much. So I need somebody to sort of like, if on Mondays I can't do it, like say for example, we have a meeting and stuff, I know that somebody would be able to step in and do the program without me being there.
When you were doing so many programs at the same time, how did you like separate content, or was it like same?
No, because for my own, it's my decision. Everything's mine. It rests with me what sort of like music and the way I'll present things. No problem. Now with the other 2, I have to sort of like blend in because it's already set. I'm I wouldn't say intruder, but I'm the ring-in somehow. So with John and Eve, they already got the set program of like how they want the show to start, what's the intro, what's the outro, kind of thing. So I started off with just talking and then also reading the news. With Radio Sandigan, with Violi and Michelle, that has to be coordinated. Like, okay, I'll do pretty much the editing because it's pre-recorded, so I'll do the editing. I'll select some music as well, and I'll select some news from overseas. And of course, the other one is the Weber.
Okay.
So we just divide that one. It's a contribution by everybody else. So say for your Violi is very good. How about if we put this content, we deal with this, say for example, this current news in the Philippines, or especially that time there's an election or something, or whatever it is. So Michelle will also rock in and say like, hey guys, how about for next week we do this. Say for example, there's the Philippine Independence Day. Somebody has to do a wrap up. So somebody will be there on the weekend and then on the following week we wrap it up and say this is what happened. You know, visits from the ambassador of Philippines to Australia or the consul general. You know, those sort of things. There's a lot of contents that you can really put in besides the music.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's good. And what would you say is kind of like the reason or like the goal of having a Filipino radio station?
I guess it's the awareness, first of all, that we do have a radio cell around Sydney. With that also, I guess speaking for everybody else, or speaking for myself, I guess, is we give them some kind of like memories. Because I play old songs and I play new songs.
Mm.
We also teach them about our traditions. So say for example, during Lent, Easter. So what are the things that we do? The cultural things that happens there, we bring it here and we broadcast that one. So we don't know, because the kids these days, they're not interested with radio. Theirs is more like computer, Xbox, Nintendo, whatever it is. That's their thing. But for the older ones that have migrated and they've already like an adult when they came here, it's nice to hear every so often, like when you're switching radio dial, it's like, oh, that's the Tagalog song.
Yeah.
So then they get to sort of like find out where is this, and you know.
It's kind of like a feeling of home, away
Yes.
from home.
Yes, and the fact that we're also giving them news from overseas, that helps. So they can rely on the SBS radio as well. Most of them they do, but this is pretty much we service the locality or the LGA, local governments. So there's one in Campbelltown, which is me. In the north, Violi with her Radio Tagumpay with Chris Guse and Andrew Russell.
That's nice. And so, are you guys still doing that radio stations even during the lockdown that we had?
We were actually at the beginning we were still allowed in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only going to talk about what happened online. So we were allowed inside the studio, but then again, majority of the presenters here at the MacArthur station, 100.3 FM. Is that alright? I'll plug that one. So anyway, in our studio, there are a good number of presenters that are of that vulnerable cases. They're old, and they're very susceptible to that one. So in order for us to sort of like not to spread it around, they've decided to close the studio. And I think also it coincides because it's an RSL. We have our premises at the Campbelltown RSL. They have to close down. They don't want to sort of like have one person minding the whole building so that we can come into the studio. So then we have to sort of like do recording. So you're going to be doing the interviews and recordings of that one and send it across to the program manager. And then when it's your time, they're going to air it.
Oh,
So you would not even know that I'm sort of like that broadcasting on the Monday, actual day, because I'll tell my guests, I say, hey, today is Monday, don't forget. And today's nighttime is not daytime.
Yeah.
So when you say hello to my listeners, just say, magandang gabi, or have a good evening, everybody. And it's Monday night when we're recording, either
In the
a
morning.
Friday night or a Saturday night we're recording, but it's for Monday.
Yeah. Okay. So just go. So everything that you're doing now kind of like traces back into doing FlagCom.
With the radio one, it's also like I use that as a vehicle to promote our show for the Mardi Gras show, but not necessarily. I use that one as an awareness once a year. But other than that, it's mainly just towards the Filipino community.
Yeah. Well, were you always, even before everything, were you always interested in entertainment or like radio?
No.
What got you into it?
No, not really. Before this interview, we were chatting, and I told you before that I was involved in the musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I So do you want me to tell you?
We'll do that a bit later, but how
Okay.
did you get into everything that you're doing now? Why did you get interested in it?
It's just because of FlagCom. That was pretty much the one that set me up into getting into the entertainment industry. Without FlagCom, I would not even dare doing like backstage managing for any events. First of all, I've got no contacts. The only Filipino contacts that I know is around the Ingleburn because we live in that part of Sydney, Macquarie Fields, Ingleburn. So that's the only people I know. And they're not into the entertainment. They are in the entertainment in the sense that they have got this block in the old days, the satellite, so they can get the TFC, and so they are aware of like what's happening back home with in terms of the actors and actresses, the movies, the TV program.
Everything, just watching it all. Yeah. So then with FlagCon, why did you guys start? You were talking before how it was kind of like a socializing group or organization that brought people together.
Yes, you can say that one. So, like I said, the main aim is to sort of like help out in the community,
Yeah.
and then afterwards, it just developed, I guess, in terms of hey, there's a necessity for doing this. Let's do it.
Is that what you guys got involved into?
Well, the two Alberts have got their own gifts and talents.
Yeah.
I've got my own to contribute. So pretty much, as you know, the two are very creative. I'm the least creative of the three
No.
of us. Trust me when I say that. To you. Sometimes I can't do color combination, and they're very good at that one because I'm the first to admit I'm not the creative type, and they know that one. I mean, like I can be in a small degree, but not in the scale that these two can do. My contribution when we formed this one is more of the logistical side. I've got management skills, I've got experience with theater and stuff, so I know what goes on at the background. So that kind of like just worked well for everyone. So Albert will be in the front, I'll be at the back. So that's how it, that we able to sort of like carry FlagCom to where it is now. So people have asked, can you do this show with us? Yeah, sure, we can do that one. So we started doing that one, and then we became known for that one. So we were able to sort of like do the shows with some international stars like David Pomeranz. We have got Leia Salonga as well. We did it in Town Hall. David Pomeranz, we did that at the State Theatre. What else?
It's just become a ripple effect pretty much.
Yes, pretty much. So we've been on different RSL clubs with all these young artists or the old artists from the Philippines doing concerts over here. We've done outside venues as well, like the Tombalong Park, where we were able to sort of like, present a show into their in their stage. And then of course our Mardi Gras kind of thing. That's the only show that we do once a year. Plus we participate in the parade.
How hard would you say it is to prepare your events?
Very.
How long does it usually?
By the time we get into the parade stuff, I probably haven't got no idea.
How long does it usually take to plan? Because you guys have a team, so it's not just you.
Yeah.
How long does it take to plan everything?
The show itself takes at least around 3 months.
Wow.
3 months, maybe more sometimes, because the very first thing is that you need to secure the venue. We haven't got a home to call at this stage, so we've been going to different places. The very first time that we put up the show was in Petersham RSL, 2011, and then we went on from that to Burwood RSL to Club Marconi, the function center in Campsie. So we went Blacktown RSL. So we've been everywhere. So we don't really have a permanent home. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but preparing the candidates as well, you're gonna have to find out your candidates. You need to find sponsors. You need to sort of like do rehearsals. You need to sort of like have the right staff on the day during the production, the lighting, the sounds. There's a lot, and it's only like me and Albert at one point, and lucky that the family for FlagCom has grown.
Yeah.
And we can rely on other people to sort of like help us.
Yeah, and that's good as well that you guys have different skills, You said that Albie is like more in the front and you know more in the
They're in
back.
charge of the decoration. I'll help. I said, oh, do you want me to up here, down that one, put some plants over here, put a chair there,
A little bit
some
left,
prop.
a bit
Yeah,
right.
bit left, bit right. But mine is more of like to make sure that the flow of the show is spot on.
How do you keep the flow like
Well,
so
we
precise?
do have a schedule.
What
So-
happens if it doesn't follow the schedule?
Well, we need to sort of like be flexible at times. Flagcom has brought in to the community that when we say it's 7 o'clock, we will start at 7 o'clock. So we kind of like train people that way because it's always been the mentality of the Filipinos to sort of, 7 o'clock, they'll start at 8 o'clock, which was happening before Flagcom came in. Some producers are already doing that one. I don't know who their production team is or was. So people will get angry because they said, oh, the show starts at 7, it's already 9:30, and then where's the artist? So pretty much, and then they don't start on time. So they'll start, say, 7 o'clock, but by the time they start, it's already 8:30. So they get angry because of that one, because there's a flow-on effect. So if you don't start early, then you'll end up very late. And people take cars or trains, public transport to go back home. So when we got that one, Albert and I said, like, we're going to have to sort of like stick to the time because we do follow a certain schedule. And if we don't do that one, then we'll be there forever because we still have to take down decorations.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're in charge of the decorations as well. So if we say 7 o'clock, we will start at o'clock. I remember one time Mr. Jim Paredes, we had he had a concert, solo concert. He's from Apo Hiking Society, right? You're too young. Anyway, Jim Paredes was being produced by Millie, my friend Millie, and Violi was also co-producer. And we said to them that we will start the show at 7 o'clock at Burwood RSL. So when 7 o'clock came, we got the show starting. Jim Paredes came to me, Charles, there's not a lot of people. I said, Jim, we say 7 o'clock, we will start at 7 o'clock. I mean, people will be coming in, right? Because it's 7 o'clock, it's also like, it's dinner time or something like that. People just wanted to have something first so that they don't have an empty stomach when they watch the show. But when you say, we have to be out of here by 11, right? As in like everything, the stage should be clear because the people that would also set up needs to go home.
Yeah.
Needs to go home.
And you only have the venue.
So if it's 7 o'clock start, we'll finish at 9:30. So that gives us an hour and a half to get everything clear. And he was surprised because him performing in the Philippines. When they said that the show starts at 7 or 8 o'clock, you bet your bottom dollar will start much later. So from then on, we train people like this is Flagcom. You know that when Flagcom says 8 o'clock, they will start at 8 o'clock, and we always do. We always do.
Has it improved since then? Has everyone started
Oh yeah.
coming in more on
Yeah.
time?
They know. They kind of like say like why does that group can start on time and why can't your group start on time? So because of that one, a lot of people knew that when we say that time, we meant it. We mean it. So everybody's happy.
That's good. Now let's talk about your musicals. You were saying that that's what got you started into your knowledge into how to create a show. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so when we first moved into the Ingleburn area, I got involved with the choir as well. So one of the lady there, I can't remember her name, slipped my mind, but anyway, she said to me, Charles, we were looking for some male singers. I said, what for? Carmel Littlefield, that's her name. So Carmel said to me, we were looking for male singers and can you come and sing with us? Oh yeah, okay, no worries. Where do I go? So she sent me to this place, and when I got there, the producer of the show said, so you're Charles, come. And then sat me there next to a keyboard and said, can you sing this? Da, 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 da. So I started following it. Okay, and the next thing I know, I got introduced to the whole cast of Jesus Christ Superstar. I said, hey guys, please welcome our newest member, Charles. He'll be one of the apostles. And I thought,
What?
what? And I go like, come on, what's going on? Because at the back of my head, I thought it was just like a simple, like, you got the stage, sing your song with the group, bow your head, and then leave. I didn't know that it was a musical. So that was my very first musical baptism with Jesus Christ Superstar, when I was one of the apostles, an ensemble. So from then on, whilst we are finishing the Jesus Christ Superstar, the Campbelltown Theatre Group said to me, we want more guys, because it's very scarce to get guys up on stage. Women's not a problem. They said, we're doing chess. So whilst this one is finishing, I'm sort of like doing some rehearsal with the other group as well for the other musical chess. So then again, I got introduced. Then they said, oh yeah, I'm going to be in the ensemble, so you play your roles, blah, blah, blah. The break came when I did my first lead role called Pippin. So that was that very first one, and I thought like, I'm very, very thankful to Angela Cascarino, because she was the one who said, oh, Peter. Peter is the name of the, Peter Novakovic is the name of the guy that produces the show. And he's also a musical director and stuff. I'd like to get Charles to play Pippin, because I don't know why. Till now, I really can't sort of like imagine that I was going to be playing that one, but I did. So that was that one, and then that one continued on with some other things like Fisher's Ghost, which is something that is celebrated here in Campbelltown. Then there was an opportunity to do Les Miserables as well. I was in the ensemble. Twice we did that. And again, another lead role came by. I was the engineer in Miss Saigon.
Oh, wow.
So all that one, in between, if I'm not, and then like, and there's another one, very, very short role, Man from La Mancha. I think that's the one that kind of like pushed me into sort of like understanding more what's going on behind the stage. Because the other ones, you'll sort of like put on your makeup, put your character, put your wardrobe on, and go in the stage. And other people are like, carrying the props in, carrying the props out, calling the actors or the performers to come up on stage for the, to start the show and that sort of thing. So when I did The Man from La Mancha, I was just like a soldier. It was a very, very short sort of thing. And in order for me to sort of like make my time worthwhile, they said, go and help in the backstage. So there's a backstage manager, and I take the cue from her, Mary Wallace, and they said like, okay, Charles, go get this. Okay, we'll push the thing. We put a marker, and then this is where you put your chair, this is where you put your bed, this is where the glass or whatever props it is, that's where we're gonna put it. So I learned from there, oh, so there is a sequence. So, and then you sort of like, with the lighting as well too, you wait until it's black out, you go in, get it out, and then make sure that by the time the light goes on, you're out of the stage. So that kind of thing is the most rewarding, I guess, for me in terms of the stage, because I get to learn how to act and sing at the same time, and also I get to know the mechanism of how to become a backstage manager.
That's good. Were you always into acting and singing?
No. Well, like the Filipinos, we always sing.
Yeah.
But I didn't sort of like envisage myself into acting. Although like it's a thing for us when you were growing up to sort of like imitate the actors that you like on the TV, and try to go through with the script and act it out.
Yeah.
But that's as far as I go. Well, this one was really good because I guess when I was doing Jesus Christ Superstar, got no idea of what we're doing, because sometimes we don't follow the script. We will, depending on who is being called to do the rehearsal, we will do that portion. So only at the end when we're doing blocking that I get to to understand when you go in, when you go out, when you get a change. Actually, I don't even know that when changing. I just follow the people. Said, what are we doing here? Oh, we're gonna have to sort of like do this, that, and then come out and do your bit. So yeah, so that's something that it was a thing that I didn't know that I could do on stage, to sing and act.
Well, must mean you've been a very good one. To be able to be selected to do that many performances and to even be the lead role.
You just don't have to sort of like, I want to do that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
it means you're good.
Yeah, to think that there's a scarcity of men on the stage is probably like that. Oh, okay, we don't really want you, but yeah, come on, you can sort of like join our show. No, but yeah, it is tough because in the sense that I guess there's integrity for the producers or for the directors to say, yeah, he fits the thing, because the characters will be out there, and it's up to you to sort of like apply for that one. So if you didn't, then your fallback will always be the ensemble, which I don't mind. I like working with the ensemble because it's also a challenge because you work as a group. Whilst if you're the individual, because you're gonna have your monologue, which you can act yourself. Did that one when I was doing the engineer at Miss Saigon. Mind you, this is not professional. This is amateur. Yeah, it's more challenging because you're gonna have to deal with a lot more people rather than 2 or 3 people. It's a group. So how do you work as one team, sing and act at the same time?
How?
So well, first of all, you're gonna have to know your lines.
Yes.
Then you're gonna have to. I'm a method actor, so to speak. I kind of like repeat myself. I try to sort of like put myself into a place of, like, say for example, you're the engineer. So I'm a method actor, so pretty much you sort of like study the role and try to sort of like internalize how you're gonna do the role. So you'll be given a description of like this is what this person is like, and then you try to say like, okay, sometimes you research, sometimes you don't, because during the early days I don't research. Because you've been given what to do on the day and you just follow some other people. They're being wacko or something, or you try to be wacko as well too. So pretty much the seriousness came when I did the first major role that I did, which is Pippin, to sort of like, this is Pippin, he's very worldly. He likes things, but he's got no satisfaction in stuff. He's a nobility and all that. So it's like, in today's things, you're like a snob, you're like a posh type of person. You don't want dirt, you don't want to do this one. So pretty much that's the thing. So you do that one whilst you perform, and they make sure you stay in character. So that's the thing, you stay, put it that way. I got no proper training in singing, no proper training in acting, so it's like a trainee. It's on the go. It's on the go.
So you kind of just taught yourself
Pretty
by
much.
observing everyone else around you,
Yeah,
how
pretty
they...
much. And getting cues from the directors or from co-actors as well. So like, what do you think we can do here, that sort of thing, Oh, I want you to do that so that I can do this and that sort of thing. So from that you learn.
So you're a very quick learner too.
Yeah, in a sense, like if I get my head to it when I was younger, if I wanted to do that one, yeah, I'll definitely have to. Sometimes that's the only thing that goes when you go to sleep as well too. You memorize your line, you sing until you fall asleep, and in the car while you're driving, that's all you're gonna hear is the music again and again and again and again until it,
Just engrave it in your brain.
Yeah, especially with musical, you don't have dialogue. You do have a dialogue, but you sing it.
Yeah.
And and I'm not very good in harmony. In harmony, that's why you have to sort of like, when you're given harmony, I have to record it. I have to listen to that one, to the tape recorder, and it's like, and then you sing it with that one. So when you're brought together, then you get to sort of like sing your part.
What would you say is probably like the biggest challenge that you had? Because you said that you didn't have any like professional or proper training that other people might have had.
Pretty much sort of like my biggest challenge is to be at least at par with the people that have had the proper training, because you can tell, like like the breathing, the pronunciation, the intonation, the diction, and all that sort of thing, all that put together. So you challenge myself. So for me, that's my challenge. The biggest challenge is, okay, you did have your formal training and stuff. I'll try to sort of like be at par, which I'll never be because of no training and stuff, but at least come very close to that one. So at least it's not so pitiful when you go with that one. So like I said, then and like I'll just deviate. Somehow we've got a new album called Heroes of the World. Oliver was the person that put all the music and that sort of thing, and he wants me to sing one song. He initially sent me a text message, Charles, we're doing this one for bushfire appeal, blah blah blah. I'd like to sing one song. I turned it down initially because I didn't see myself as a good enough singer, because the people that are singing in that album has really proven themselves more than enough times, in performing in front of a large crowd. I can perform, but with the group, I'm more confident. Um, the likes of Albert, Marcus, Lillian de los Reyes, and all these people that have got really a name for themselves. They're known that they are an actual singer. I don't think you've seen me that many times performing on my own on the stage, maybe
No.
not even once. So pretty much that's I turned it down. I said to Oliver, thanks, but I really don't have that great credentials. And then I had a change of heart afterwards and said, like, this is a song that I really made for you because I think you can do it. And don't underestimate yourself. He said, don't underestimate yourself. Even Jimmy Pimentel, who my mentor at the radio, said, like, Chucky, you do have a voice, you can sing. And Oliver will not get you if he doesn't think that you fit into that song. So that's the turning point. So now, like I said, that's always a challenge. So I don't see myself as that person that are...
Who is very high up.
That's right. But then again, when you give me a challenge, I'd like to do my best to go and match up somehow. So then the album was created, my song is included, and a video of among the 15 songs, I've got a video that's coming out of that one, out of the 15.
Nice.
And yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Good, I guess. But then again, that's only one. I'm not saying that the other 14 people will not be given an opportunity for the video. It's just that in the day of the bushfire and flood and the coronavirus, my song is very appropriate because it's the nurses' song. So in all those three major catastrophe that we experience here in Australia, the nurses, the frontliners, the medicos are the ones that's been given an emphasis somehow. Or beside, I guess, the firefighters during the bushfire, it's always there's medical reasons why people have to be treated or comforted. And that's the reason why the song is very much appropriate. And it was decided by Oliver that your song being the most versatile of all, we'll find somebody that will sponsor the video and we'll make a video out of that one. So I've asked people like nurses and stuff, please send me your photos without mask, with your PPE or with your patient or something like that, and we'll make a video out of it.
There's a lot for me to learn from Charles, just from sitting and chatting with him today for a very good length of time. I learned not just from the work that I knew him by, but also the behind the scenes of what it takes to make it successful, but also how he's able to bring himself together, doing so many things at once, because I know him very well as someone who does community work, and he's also able to celebrate it in a way that he's able to acknowledge parts of his culture in the Australian community. And I really learned to appreciate the culture through the fashion, how the things that we celebrate over here in Australia. Even though that we are here in Australia and we live the Australian lifestyle, it's important for us to continue appreciating that side of our identity. It's still part of us that we hold very close to our hearts, and I hope that it's something you guys learn from this interview as well.